Here is a representation of the Twin Towers, and I've taken 2 DNA strips and replaced the Twin Towers with 2 DNA strips. We're going to watch the avocado from Mexico commercial that you saw at the beginning of this presentation. Avocados are shaped like the uterus and the cervix. See right there? If we were to put that avocado right there, there you go. And avocados have been shown to balance hormones and prevent cervical cancer. And guess what? It takes 9 months for a baby to fully develop in the womb, and it takes an avocado exactly 9 months to grow from a blossom into a ripened fruit. An avocado resembles exactly the uterus and the cervix of a female reproductive system. Here's the joke that's on everybody.
Good afternoon and welcome.
What?
I said good afternoon and welcome. Can we release the masks? Just take them off. How can we be a secret... How can we be a secret society if we can't keep all of our secrets?
Do they know we faked the moon landing?
No, not yet.
Or that there are only 49 shades of gray?
They're suspicious, but that's not what I'm talking about.
What about Bigfoot?
Bigfoot's not real and everyone knows that.
Did they figure out we deflated the footballs?
No, we found a fall guy for that one.
Bigfoot's definitely real.
Nope.
We'll just have to agree to disagree.
What about Area 51? Do they know about that?
No.
How about Area 52 to 54?
No, stop saying areas. No areas plus a number.
Literally hundreds of photos of Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him once. Wait,
See?
wait, Bigfoot? I'm getting it wrong. Paul Bunyan?
Point is, someone is leaking this stuff.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm not looking at you, Anne.
I've seen his footprint when I was
Scott! What they do know is that avocados from Mexico have good fat.
So they know they're healthy.
They know everything. Kyle, are you streaming this?
Is that not cool?
No, it's not cool. That's what secret means. It's a secret society.
Oh, wow, secret, yep. Hey, I got a like.
You got a like?
That was me.
I like you too.
At least they don't know about subliminal advertising. That's not even a thing, right?
Eat them!
What the?
Avocados from Mexico.
So this is what they played during the Super Bowl. And it's a parody on secret societies. And they're making fun of conspiracy theorists. And they're bringing out all these particular conspiracies that people have come up with, that the moon landing was fake, which is probably true. The moon landing probably was fake. And all these other things that have come out into the general public. And they're making fun of it because they want you to laugh at it. They're trying to distract you. Let me show you what the just sinister, evil, wicked, nefarious hidden meaning was in this commercial. It takes 9 months for an avocado to grow. It takes 9 months for a baby to grow. At the end of the commercial, they're all scarfing down on avocados. It's really a parody that they're all scarfing down on humans. Let me show you. Remember that in the twin system, that the twin towers represent twin DNAs. Each parent donates 23 chromosomes for a host body. So each twin tower represented the number 23. 23 and 23 is 46, and that's what makes a host body. 2 DNA strips right here. Take a look at them. They look just like a pause button. Now, let me show you in the commercial where they hid the nefarious truth right in your face.
How can we be a secret...
So he's reaching over to pause the chanting that's going on. How can we be a secret society when we can't keep our secrets? Look at the number that's on the CD player. See the 2 lines represented by the pause button? Does any CD you know of have 23 tracks? Of course not. It represents the twin DNAs, 23 and 23, represented by the pause button. And they're talking about, how can we be a secret society if we can't keep our secrets? The real secret is right there. You're looking at it. An avocado is shaped like a female uterus and cervix. It takes 9 months to produce an avocado. It takes 9 months to produce a child. And now they're making fun of everybody, talking about subliminal advertising, and then they're all eating avocados.
At least they don't know about subliminal advertising. That's not even a thing, right?
Eat them!
What the?
Uh-huh. Eat them. They're really talking about eating babies, folks. That's how sick and twisted this is. Eat them. That's why we put it at the beginning of this presentation. At the beginning of this DVD, you probably had no idea what this was about. Now you know exactly what it's about. This is not some innocuous commercial. This is about cannibalization right in front of your face. We're going to watch another commercial. Let me first show you some of the guys that are in the commercial. This is Tom Hiddleston. He played Loki in the Avengers with the big devil horns. And he played the Beast in the X-Men. Remember that between the two V's, it makes an X right in the middle. Okay, well, let me tell you the meaning of the name Loki. It means Lok, to cover the lid in, it means to close or to lock up. Loki is also Indo-European root meaning to break. In Norse legend, Loki was a trickster god associated with magic and fire. Also, Loki is the god of destruction. And that's what the name Loki means. And it's going to become very apparent when we watch this commercial what the real meaning behind this commercial is. Are they really trying to sell Jaguars? Or is there a more nefarious, cryptic thing going on here? Now, before I start, I want to make sure you understand. In the beginning, Satan and his goal, Lucifer, was to capture in a snare God's angels and get their essence, get their souls, cannibalize, self-cannibalization, so they end up going to the pit and being food for him. And when they created this system, they created a beast. And that's the beast system. That's what we live in. Because inside every human being is a good you and a bad you, a beast. I want to read to you the lyrics of a song by a group called Imagine Dragons. I want to hide the truth. I want to shelter you. But with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide. Okay, you ready?
It's time for a change. A new plan needs a new boss. It's time for something more surprising, more British, more Jaguar.
We've already created a beast. Now it's time for a new animal. With the same potent DNA, but even more ruthlessly efficient.
Unleash the cats.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right away.
Go on, my pretty ones, go on. Go on. Go forth and rule the roads! Oh yes, it is good to be bad.
If that's really selling a Jaguar, and people really believe that that's really about selling a car, well, okay. Let me show you what this is about. A new plan requires a new boss. That's Lucifer saying, I've taken over. The two have become one.
It's time for a change. A new plan needs a new boss. It's time for something more surprising, more British, more Jaguar.
He's Loki, the god of destruction, the one that has captured and put a lid on that, the meaning of the word Loki. Now, it's time for something more surprising, more British, more Jaguar. He snaps his finger, and the guy that plays the beast gets up off the couch.
We've already created a beast.
Now, what's really fascinating is when he goes to his chart here of the periodic table of elements. See, he has an OH, one going up and one going down. That's the right side up in the upside down paradigm. One's right side up, one's upside down. Now, listen very closely to what he says.
Time for a new animal.
And now it's time for a new animal. Now it's time for a new animal because the two have become one. So they've created a beast. There it is. The outcome justifies the deed. Now it's time for a whole new animal.
for a new animal with the same potent DNA.
With the same potent DNA. Remember, this is all about DNAs. Remember the Twin Tower? Let me show you. We screenshotted his eye right there. The same potent DNA. Let me show you. There's that DNA right there. You see how the shadow of the chain link fence made a triangle right on top of his eye? Because that's the DNA they're talking about. Lucifer, the all-seeing eye, using the same potent DNA. But even more ruthlessly efficient. Now, the car turned from white to red because it's going to be a bloodbath when this thing's unleashed. And when I say this thing, I mean the beast inside of every human being has turned literally straight up to a beast. Because the consciousness inside of the human condition has turned to an absolute beast. Cold-hearted and remorseless.
Unleash the cats.
Okay, the jaguar emblem spiraling through the air, and then it turns upside down and it lands on the car, and then vroom, then the whole new animal is energized. Release the cats. The word CATS is an acronym that stands for Combined Aerial Target Systems.
The same potent DNA, but even more ruthlessly efficient.
A whole new thing. Combined Aerial Target Systems. That's what's going to start everything.
Yes, right away.
Okay, you see the map behind him, like a nuclear launch? Release the cats. Combined Aerial Target Systems. It's a British Armed Forces acronym, and now look how all the cars are lined up, and look in the background how it's a map of the world, and it's a launch. Combined Aerial Target System. Release the cats. Like a missile. Like they're going into, like they're shooting out of silos, you know, like nuclear weapons shoot out of these tubes that they're in.
Go on, my pretty ones, go on. Go on. Go forth and rule the roads! Oh yes, it is good to be bad.
So, again, if you believe that commercial is about selling a car, it is not. It is about DNA and a whole new race of beings that's been birthed within the human race. That's why they used Tom Hiddleston, which is played Loki. That's why they used this guy that played the Beast. That's why they said release the CATS, Combined Aerial Target System. And then as the symbol goes onto the front of the Jaguar to energize it, you'll see it's upside down and then it lands in the opposite direction, like everything's come full circle. And they've got their new race of beings. There it is. And they'll start the whole thing by releasing nukes. That's how it's all going to get started, the whole thing. We're going to watch another version of this Jaguar commercial. This is a version of the same commercial, but watch what's in this one.
It's time for a change. A new plan needs a new boss. It's time for something more surprising, more British, more Jaguar.
We've already created a beast. Now it's time for a new animal with the same potent DNA, but even more ruthlessly efficient.
Unleash the cats.
XE.
Introducing the new generation of Jaguar.
Okay, XE is what was on your screen. It says introducing the new generation. Look where all the cars are. They're all parked in front of the Tower Bridge. You notice something odd about the letter W on the Tower Bridge? Again, you have the two intersecting V's. So you have a V with an X in the middle and a V. The new generation of Jaguar. By the way, XE is an abbreviation for alien. There all the cars are parked in front of the Tower Bridge right here. The twins, see? It's the London Bridge. They are identical. And the logo for the Tower Bridge, just like Twin Liquors, you have two intersecting V's making a W, which is exactly what you have for the Tower Bridge in London, because it represents the twin system. This is the world that you're trapped in. This is the host body system that all God's angels got trapped in. Some were complicit, apparently, and, everybody was in some way complicit or you wouldn't be here. And apparently some of us, God has acquitted by coming taking our death sentence for us and dying on a cross. His purpose was to make one new man from the two, destroying the enmity. Because there's a good you and there's a bad you. There's a double you. Let's watch another Jaguar commercial. In Richard II by William Shakespeare, there's a scene where one king is going out and another king is taking over, and I'll just give you a quick part of it. It says, John Gaunt, ill and dying in his house, talks with the Duke of York while he awaits the arrival of King Richard. Gaunt hopes that with his dying breath he will be able to give the foolhardy young king Richard some advice that he will listen to. York says this is unlikely. The king is too surrounded by flatterers and too interested in the follies and fashions of the world. Gaunt replies that if this is the case, he must prophesy with his last breath that Richard is headed for doom. His rash fears blaze of riot cannot last, for violent fires soon burn themselves out. And then here comes his speech that is in the Jaguar commercial. He goes on to lament in the play's most famous speech that the beautiful, fertile, and divinely favored country of England has been rented out. This royal throne of kings, this sceptered isle, this majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, is now leased out. I die pronouncing it like a tenement or pelting farm. So that is, the quote from the play itself. This one is called British Villains. And I want you to notice the color of the cars. One's white in the commercial and one's black. The black one gets turned a 180 degree. But let's watch the whole thing and pay attention.
This royal throne of kings, this sceptered isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war.
They say Brits play the best villains. But what makes a great villain? Firstly, you need to sound distinct. Speak with an eloquence that lets everyone know who's in charge. Gentlemen. Excellent. Now, a villain should have style. The suit should always be bespoke, razor sharp, like your wit. It's important that a villain has the means to stay one step ahead. World domination starts with attention to detail. Take this tiny switch, for example. It changes everything. Now brace yourselves. This happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea against the envy of less happier lands, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England. It's all mine.
Okay, so this is again an Antichrist figure, the devil saying it's all mine. Now let's go through and have a look. In the commercial, he's driving this white Jaguar as he pulls up, listening to, the one king is going out and another king is going to take over.
But what makes a great villain?
And then he gets out to go meet these guys at the elevator, and look at the two become one.
Who's in charge?
There it is. And now these two come and hand him this case, and he walks to his car. Okay, pops his trunk. I want you to look at the trunk right there. Oh my gosh, VXV. You mean the same thing as the Tower Bridge. V intersecting V with an X in the middle. he gets in and he says you have to stay one step ahead of your enemies.
It's important that a villain has the means to stay one step ahead.
To stay one step ahead, he turns his enemy the opposite direction, like turning him upside down. Watch. There you go. That's how he stays one step ahead, turning him upside down, turning him the opposite direction. Now watch.
World domination starts with attention to detail. Take this tiny switch, for example.
Take this tiny switch, for example. It changes everything. It's a representation of launching nukes.
It changes everything.
And then he drives off. He starts reciting more from King Richard. And then he says, it's mine, all mine. And that's just straight up the devil saying he's taken over. That's all this is. Are they really selling a car here? Let me show you what the number 108 represents. The symbol for the Church of Satan is an upside down 5-pointed star. The number 108 right there is a harshad number, an integer divisible by the sum of its digits. Harshad in Sanskrit means joy giver. 108 was the number of choice for this simple reason. 108 represents the whole of existence, and it represents a pentagram, because the angle between these vertices in every quadrant is 108 degrees. 108, 108, 108, 108, 108. It's all probably just a big coincidence. Y'all starting to notice an absolute irrefutable common denominator here on twins? Have you noticed it's the same thing? Then notice this little switch, it changes everything. What little switch?
Unleash the cats.
When he's in the car and he's driving off and he presses it, he says, now brace yourselves. And he says, it's all mine. This is straight up Luciferianism at play right in front of your face. Okay, this concludes the Jaguar commercials. Now we're going to do a few more commercials. Okay, this concludes the Jaguar commercials. We've seen a recurring theme, haven't we? The twins, DNA. Nothing is really about a product that they're selling when you watch the Jaguar commercials. It's about twins. The avocado from Mexico commercial. We have this consistent twin paradigm you saw in the avocados from Mexico, the cannibalism, you know, and I showed you that it goes back to the Garden of Eden, the fall, where Eve was beguiled, seduced by the Nakash, the serpent from its hiss. And we're going to look at that, the word hiss. It's very important. The word for woman is Isha Nashim. It means woman, adulteress. An adulteress is a woman that has sex with another partner besides her husband because of the commingling with the serpent. And then she had sex with Adam after she had sex with the serpent. Let's look at this commercial. It's called the Ian Bud Light commercial.
Hey, I'm Kelly.
Ian?
Ian?
Ian, pleasure to meet you.
If I give this to you, are you up for whatever happens next?
We gave Ian Rappaport a Bud Light and a choice. He has no idea what's going to happen next.
I think I could do that. All right, he's in the limo. Reggie, that's you. How are you? What's your name? Ian Rappaport. Ian Rappaport. They're coming in now, guys. Open the doors.
Joe. Good evening.
Hello, Lily. Hey, Don. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Nice to see you.
She's feeling a little under the weather.
Hi.
Twins.
Yes.
Take care of you. Everyone here is a twin? My mind is blown. They're on their way down.
Prepare to be crushed in tiny tennis. Just give me 5 push-ups, 2. It's not a bad shot for my little princess.
Bud Light, the perfect beer for when Don Cheadle, a llama named Lily, and the identical twin of the girl you just met take you to a party where you defeat Arnold Schwarzenegger in a sudden death ping pong match that puts you on stage with One Republic. Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens.
Okay, so here we are at the beginning of the commercial, and it says hidden cameras because, you know, the whole thing is being watched. Everything that's happening is being seen. You know, it's hidden from his sight, but it's not hidden from those that are watching. She comes up and she touches him right in front of the light. That's where she makes contact with him. In the Garden of Eden, the serpent beguiled the adulteress, okay? Hi, my name's Kelly. And he says, I'm Ian. The name Kelly means war. It also means female warrior. Warrior woman walks up, puts out her hand, and Ian touches her hand in front of the light. The name Ian means gift from God. And that's a representation of the Garden of Eden and the fall of Adam. She makes an offer. She says, if I give you this, are you up for whatever happens? He takes the offer, and here it comes. So now he's on his way to a bachelorette party with the female warrior. What happens at bachelorette parties? The same thing that happened in the garden. Eve, who had desired the angel, Eve desired the angel before she slept with Adam, and then Adam slept with her, and she conceived and bare Cain, said, I have acquired a man, the angel of the Lord. And she added to bear from her husband Adam, his twin, even Abel. And the gift from God accepts the offer, and now he's on his way to a bachelorette party, which is an exact representation of the fall in the garden.
Very nice to meet you.
Okay, so now he's going in and they're changing his appearance, and they're giving him a new outfit.
Joe?
Now, Don Cheadle is getting in the elevator with Ian. He's wearing the identical outfit as Ian. They're dressed like identical twins. However, Ian is white and Don Cheadle is black. Don Cheadle has a llama with him. It says in the Incan creation myth, white llamas were used for animal sacrifices, and young children were particularly prized as human sacrifices for the Incan gods. And the name of the llama is Lily. Let me show you the meaning. The symbol of innocence, purity, and beauty. So they're taking Ian as a symbol of a sacrifice, a human sacrifice, which is exactly what happened in the garden. They were destroyed.
Good evening. Hello, Lily.
Hey, Don. How are you? Hey, how's it going?
The word don means to put on, like an article of clothing. To wrap oneself in. There you go. Like Isaiah 30, you cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. Because a new spirit entered in to take over the system, to take over his consciousness. Now everything's starting to make all kinds of sense. Otherwise, this is just some really off-the-cuff, bizarre commercial that makes no sense. But now it makes all kinds of sense. Let's keep watching.
Door.
Now the door opens up and her identical twin gets in the elevator. So there he stands. He's dressed identically to Don Cheadle.
Twins?
Yes.
This is a bizarre night.
Notice how everything's red. See how the background is all red? Like sacrifice, like a blood sacrifice. Because this was Lucifer's goal. We all have become sacrifices. We all have our own evil twin.
Everyone here is a twin?
And now he's leaving the party. He's already fallen. This represents the fall. He's got his own evil twin now.
My mind is blown. They're on their way down.
Prepare to be crushed.
Prepare to be crushed in tiny tennis. This is a very cryptic scene. He had him hold up his arms. Quite a few years ago, I showed you guys the $50 bill. The $50 bill has the destruction of the Hoover Dam on it. And the Hoover Dam is going to be destroyed, and it's symbolic of the water breaking at a birth. If you look from it from above, is in the same shape as the female reproductive system. So if the dam were to burst, it would represent the water breaking and the birthing of the new race. Well, at the Hoover Dam is a plaque. It says, they died to make the desert bloom. Lucifer's kingdom was destitute, like a desert. It was desolate. But this plaque is supposed to be for the people that died during the building of the Hoover Dam. Well, if you look up here, the guy's hands are under two different grains. It's like the wheat and the weeds. Using his arms and his chest, you can see it is Baphomet. It is the goat-headed god, using the eyes as his nipples, and then the mouth here, and the goatee of the beard on his stomach, and the horns going up as his arms. Look down here in the water right here. Do you see the guy laying on his side with the waves going over him? Arnold Schwarzenegger has him put his arms up, representing this exact plaque that's at the Hoover Dam, and then in the water is a guy laying on his side. Let's watch what Arnold has him do next. He puts him down on the ground where it's painted blue. That is a representation of the guy on the plaque that's laying on his side in the water. And he's already put his arms up in the shape of Baphomet and the female reproductive system with two different seeds. And now I want you to look at this row of people. There's 1, 2, 3 rows of people. Okay, on each row there's 6 people. There are 3 wearing white shirts that have Arnold Schwarzenegger with his arms up like this, like a mighty man, like from Genesis. And then there's 3 people wearing blue shirts with Ian's picture on them. Half and half. And it's 6, 6, 6. 3 rows of 6 that are half and half. Is this becoming just painfully obvious now? Look at the shape of that ping pong table. Here is the highway that they built in front of the Hoover Dam. So in case the dam were to blow up and be destroyed, like they're going to do because it's printed on the $50 bill, now you would have an alternate means of getting past this big gorge. So they're ready for it. Look at the ping pong table and look at the shape of the dam. That is absolutely the bridge over the Hoover Dam. And the blue represents the water. It is absolutely identical. We have such a perfect match. He went to a party, everybody was twins. Kelly, the female warrior, made an offer. He touched her right in front of the light, symbolizing he touched her. Neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And so he touched the female warrior. He fell. I want you to look at the plaque for a moment, how the arms go out under each of these different types of grain. On both sides, you'll see this structure like the number 11, representing the duality of the species.
Not a bad shot for my little princess.
And now he's just mocking him and making fun of him. This is just a complete and utter mockery. This has absolutely nothing to do with selling beer, nothing whatsoever. Once this wall falls, which represents the dam breaking, there is the band One Republic playing a song, and then they go through a little spiel. That represents the dam going, and then all of a sudden he finds him on stage with One Republic. And they make a complete mockery of the entire scene. You can see how completely absurd this is. This has nothing to do with selling beer. It has everything to do with mocking God's angels that got caught in a host body system. They have their own evil twin, and we're all being used as a sacrifice to start a new republic, a new race. And there it is. It's a complete breakdown. Just watched the Ian Bud Light commercial. It was very cryptic. They worked even the Hoover Dam into it. It's really amazing. The Hoover Dam is already printed on the U.S. currency as one of the events that will take place that has been telegraphed in advance. They did the same thing with the Twin Towers, as did they print the Pentagon bombing on the same $20 bill note. The Alfred P. Moore building on the old $20 bill. All these images that were printed on the U.S. currency were made before the buildings ever blew up. So that means they had foreknowledge. The spirit that did it knew what it was going to do, and so it used humans as puppets and had those images put on U.S. currency in order to show himself as God of this world. That's what Lucifer's doing. We saw that in that commercial, it showed Ian get down on the ground that was all blue, and it was alluding to the plaque at the Hoover Dam, the wheat and the weeds. It says, they died so the desert could bloom. That was Lucifer making a statement. It wasn't really about the people that died during the building of the Hoover Dam, which there were many. The plaque was cryptic to show that angels, they died so Lucifer's kingdom could bloom. That's what that's about. This is called Bright Crystal Versace, and I'm going to let you watch it all the way through, and then we're going to break it down. But remember the Ian Bud Light commercial where he had his own evil twin because he made the wrong decision in the garden. The female warrior, which was Eve, turned against him. He fell. He took the deal. It's interesting if you think about it. Once Eve was corrupted, did that mean he couldn't touch Eve without being corrupted? Or was he corrupted by the same fruit of another gender? It's an interesting question. But either way, it is absolutely what was the fall. Sex was the fall. Here we go. So here comes a being down from heaven, like an angel. She's in a desert setting now, again, like the Garden of Eden. She's naked. Just look how everything's desolate, like a desert. They died so the desert could bloom. I want you to look how, with her hands, she's making that letter W. And you are looking at dry, parched ground, the desert, and also serpent skin and human skin. We're going to show you right now. I want you to look at the cobblestones right here at the Vatican. This is St. Peter's Basilica. So the whole thing's a big serpent that's pregnant. And the pregnant part, which is the patio, that's in the shape of a keyhole, the pregnant part is made up out of black cobblestones, identical to serpent scales. Now why don't you have a look at serpent scales and let's magnify human skin. Wow, identical. Well, the Targum said, and he cast them from him, Adam and his wife Hava, and gave them the flesh of serpents upon the adornment they had that had been cast away. Right here, very important, there's a teardrop coming out of her eye. That teardrop's going to fall down, and it's going to hit the parched ground. And all the stuff I've been showing you, all the dead sheep, almost all of them have one thing in common. There's a teardrop comes out of the eye of an animal that has died, like all those sheep I showed you. So she has a teardrop that comes out and it hits the ground. That teardrop represents death, and here it comes out of the dry, parched ground, which also is the same as serpent skin. Here comes a penis. See all the little lights floating around like falling stars, all the stars that fell from heaven. The Bible says those who are wise in the end shall shine like the brightness of the firmament. The Bible says, in with his tail drew down a third of the stars of heaven. So she's fornicating. This is the fall. Your body has become your prison. In the next commercial, we're going to show you what's called the Vesica Piscis, which is a representation of your prison. So the sounds you're going to hear right now, crystalline, forming a crystal. She is trapped now in her body. Her body has become her prison, which is exactly what I've been telling y'all. Now she's breathing out. She's exhaling. She's exhaling. She's dying. And she's looking at, look, one eye's in the darkness. See how one eye's black and one eye's in the light. This is our condition, death now. The Bible says if your eye be single, the whole body's full of light, because your eye is double. Until you're made single, then your whole body's full of darkness, because one eye is dark, one eye is light. She's going to breathe out her last breath. Watch what happens to her essence. I'm going to freeze it right there. Look how her eye turned from a pupil to a slit. Does that look like a human eye right there? Looks like a serpent's eye. Look how her body is like crystalline. It's her prison. She's been trapped. See her essence trapped in the bottle right here? There is her essence that's been trapped in the bottle. She died, she exhaled, and her body became her prison like the whole human race. On top of the bottle, right here, this is called the vesica piscis. Right here, this is a vesica piscis. The intersection of these two circles, where they intersect, makes this geometric shape that looks like a football. She is trapped because the intersection of the two sets created the prison for us. That's the duality, and because now they both share this common space, the intersection of the very two first cells. The seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman, they form those two circles. As soon as those two circles intersect, they form the vesica piscis. Every single one of us started with two cells, a sperm and an egg. And when they intersect, that's a whole new prison. That's a new host body. That has nothing to do with selling perfume, folks. Absolutely nothing. Now we're going to do another commercial, Coco Mademoiselle. It's another perfume commercial, but let me ask you a question. Have you seen in any of these commercials that they're actually trying to sell something? I mean, the Bud Light commercial, did it talk about how great the beer was? What about the Jaguar commercials? Did they tell you about the acceleration, the handling, the struts, the leather interior, all the amenities that a car should come with? And that's what makes it such a great car. So they've never really told you anything about any of the products, have they? Okay, well, I want to take you back to the Garden of Eden right now, the very first two cells, and as they come together and they intersect, they're going to form what's called the vesica piscis. Now I want you to pretend that you're getting to watch the very first two cells intersect. The first sperm, the seed of the serpent, mixing with the seed of the woman. Let's watch a little bit of biology real quick.
When sperm reach the zona pellucida, they attach to specialized sperm receptors on the surface, which triggers their acrosomes to release digestive enzymes, enabling the sperm to burrow into the layer. Inside the zona pellucida is a narrow, fluid-filled space just outside the egg cell membrane. The first sperm to make contact will fertilize the egg. After a perilous journey and against incredible odds, a single sperm attaches to the egg cell membrane. Meanwhile, inside the egg, the tightly packed male genetic material spreads out. A new membrane forms around the genetic material, creating the male pronucleus. Inside, the genetic material reforms into 23 chromosomes. The female genetic material, awakened by the fusion of the sperm with the egg, finishes dividing, resulting in the female pronucleus, which also contains 23 chromosomes. As the male and female pronuclei form, spiderweb-like threads, called microtubules, pull them toward each other. The two sets of chromosomes join together, completing the process of fertilization. At this moment, a unique genetic code arises, instantly determining gender, hair color, eye color, and hundreds of other characteristics.
The very first two cells on planet Earth in the Garden of Eden, the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman, it said each one has 23 chromosomes, each pronuclei. Here you have the seed of the woman and we have the seed of the serpent. And as they come together, the intersection of the two sets will make the vesica piscis, shaped like a football. Well, if I rotate these two this way, you can see that if one's above and one's below, see the intersection right there? It makes the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye came from the very first two cells that intersected because of the shape it made and because of the host body that resulted from the intersection of the two sets. There it is. It also makes a lot of other stuff that you see in your daily life, like the MasterCard. That's the reason it's called a MasterCard, is because that's Lucifer saying he's your master, and that's why the intersection of the two have stripes. Remember in the Garden of Eden that the serpent lied to the woman, and the serpent said unto the woman, "You shall not surely die, if she partook of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." He said, "For God hath known the day you eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." Okay, so.
Well, no one told me about her, the way she lied. no one told me about how many people cried. But it's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she had tan, the color of her hair. Her voice was soft and cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there.
So let's watch. What's the first thing that happens? Your eyes will be opened and you will be as God's eye open. Now I want you to look at her leg. This is very intentional. This is absolutely staged to make a pyramid, because the pyramid represents the enemy, Lucifer, just like the all-seeing eye on the top of the pyramid on the dollar bill. Okay, now she goes behind this screen and her identity becomes veiled. It's a shadow. She applies to herself the perfume. Remember in the bright crystal commercial you just saw, the essence of the woman got trapped in the bottles. All these bottles on the top have the Vesica Piscis. As she goes behind the screen, she takes her finger and she applies the perfume. And she takes the bottle and she turns it upside down on her fingers. It's very deliberate the way she does it. She makes 666 with her fingers. So she takes the bottle and she holds it and she applies it to her finger, making the 666, representing the flesh. And he's about to take the rest of the bait. Listen to the song that they're playing. The song is from a group called The Zombies, because the entire human race really did turn into zombies because of the fall in the garden. We are really zombies. Until you're born again, you are really the walking dead. Now she's making the offer, and she's presenting the offer to him, and now he goes and he accepts the offer. He touches it. Neither shall you touch it, lest you die. Now he thinks he's got something really great. Okay, right here. Light turns to darkness, and let me show you what's on this girl's dress. There's the head of a dragon. There's the eye of the dragon. There's the open mouth. There's the ear of the dragon. Top of the head of the dragon. This is with intent. So there's this nebulous looking fading dragon from the white to the black, and she goes from bright into this other girl, and what he thinks he's going to get, he doesn't get, and what's on this girl is an image of a dragon. You have light and dark. The entire commercial is black and white, light and dark, and now what looked like the light turns to the dark. And let's watch what happens. He just got the knockout punch, and then you can hear a door shut, like he's being locked in prison. You're looking at him from above, like he's been cast down. So now he's taken the bait, he got sucker punched, he's knocked out, and look where he's trapped. Oh my goodness. He's trapped in the dead center of the Vesica Piscis, and he's been cast down. Just like the intersection of the first two cells in the Garden of Eden. The exact thing they made was this right here. And that's a representation of Adam caught in the Vesica Piscis. Are they trying to sell us perfume? This has nothing to do with perfume. So now all these commercials are starting to look so pathetically obvious that it doesn't require intellectual thought to figure out what's going on. We're going to recap what we've already seen just in the commercials. What I've done is I've taken the DVD and the knowledge of the DVD, and I've applied the knowledge to the world around you to show you where you really are. Because everybody is an angel that's waking up on a planet that they don't belong to. Everyone's in exile. The real cryptic secret of all is that there's a race of beings in the pit that are being fed by using the energy of angels that got caught in a host body system. They're being transmuted. They're being self-cannibalized. And that energy, unless you get converted before you die, you go to the pit. Your soul, your essence, goes into the pit, and you are used to create another one of those race of beings. You saw the avocado from Mexico commercial. They were making a joke, a parody on secret societies, and it was actually rather funny. It was actually very clever, but the entire time they were mocking you. There's 23 chromosomes donated by each parent, seed of the serpent, seed of the woman, like twins. And The two combined make 46, just like the Twin Towers. George Bush read Psalm 23 and Barack Obama read Psalm 46 because the One World Freedom Tower was being completed. So there it is. There's the cryptic hidden meaning of the Avocados from Mexico commercial, and it's showing twins because he paused at track 23. I don't think I've ever seen 23 tracks, but it makes this image right here, which is the pause button, and it's the same as like the Twin Towers. And so the hidden meaning was cannibalization. The guys that were part of the secret society, they're sitting there scarfing down avocados, which take 9 months to grow. So they're making fun of them like they're eating their own babies. And that's why the guy goes, "What the?" Very disturbing commercial. And then the next commercial, we have the set of Jaguar commercials. It's time for a change, and a change requires a new boss. This is alluding to the Antichrist and Satan taking over the entire world. You had Tom Hiddleston, who played Loki in the Avengers with the big horns. And then you had Nicholas Hoult playing the Beast. A common thing about the Beast, when you look at the X-Men movies, he is commonly upside down. He'll be sitting on the ceiling upside down because we are the Beast. The human race is the Beast until you get converted. Then you're no longer the Beast. You're still in the beast system, but you're no longer part of it. The Jaguar commercials had all kinds of cryptic stuff that was in it. It also showed a nuclear launch. Release the cats. They are telegraphing a nuclear launch, and that's what they're doing. Also, it was at the Tower Bridge in London. It's got the same common denominator. The letter W is two intersecting V's. On the back of the car, it showed the XE, right when they said the new generation. Well, XE is an abbreviated form for xenomorph, alien. Now again, I want to show you the license plate on the Jaguar. The X and the V is no different than the two intersecting V's. If you look right in the middle between the V's, it makes an X here and here. That makes an X. And that's what's on the license plate. And the number 108, it is also a number that represents the pentagram. An upside down pentagram is the Church of Satan. That is the degree angle in all these different vertices here. They said it's time for a whole new animal using the same potent DNA. So now we're back to DNA, just like the Garden of Eden, the DNA from the serpent. When they said using the same potent DNA, there was a shadow over Tom Hiddleston's eye, making a triangle just like this. Every time they make a statement, they edit into the commercial the meaning that they're trying to convey. When you look at that in the background, is Nicholas holding his arms up like the nukes are flying. And it shows, what would be perceived exactly as a nuclear launch. If you're watching a James Bond movie, you'd go, wow, they're launching. I want you to look at all the Jaguars. What do you notice? There's one right side up and one upside down. So they even put into it the right side up, upside down paradigm, which is for those that actually know what's going on. Again, right in your face. We watched the Ian Bud Light commercial. It was very obvious once it was revealed to you, Ian is being completely set up. They were a bunch of actors. The Garden of Eden was the serpent playing a part, acting, disguised. She makes an offer and asks him, if I give you this, are you up for whatever happens next? That was the beginning of the entire fall, which had already happened, and we're just playing it out on earth now. All the angels that are here going through your trial on earth, you are just living out what's already happened. Kelly makes the offer, the female warrior makes the offer, and as soon as she says it, it's very quick. She winks her right eye. That is very profound. That is a manifestation of the Bible. The Bible says in John 15, he said, this bringeth to pass what is written in their scriptures. They hated me without cause. Jesus was quoting Psalm 35:19. Neither let them that are my enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink with the eye that hate me without a cause. This is an absolute enemy set to destroy Ian. And so Ian ends up going to a party. He gets a change of look, and he has his own twin. They make it Don Cheadle. So Ian has put on a whole new thing. He's got a new outfit. He's got his own black doppelganger, his own twin, one light, one dark. And then he goes into a party where the scene is red. When he walks in, representing him as a sacrifice, that's why in the elevator there was a llama named Lily. The word Lily means purity, and llamas were used in the Incan creation myth as animal sacrifices along with children for the Incan society. So there's no way all these data points could hit home like they're hitting home. It is just so not arguable when you see the truth and the reality of this. We also had a few more commercials. We had the Versace commercial, and then we had the Coco Mademoiselle commercial. And what's really fascinating is that the Ian Bud Light commercial telegraphed the Hoover Dam that it will be destroyed, which is printed on the $50 bill as an image, and there's 3 layers of ink. And when you look at those layers of ink, you can see that it actually shows water flowing over the dam and moving. It's quite an amazing thing, really. It shows Arnold Schwarzenegger with his arms up, representing the plaque at the Hoover Dam, and him making Ian take that same position. He tells Ian to get down on the ground and do push-ups in order to represent the face on the same plaque that is laying in the water that said, "They died so the desert could bloom." There is also at the Hoover Dam 2 giant statues of angels. It's really about all God's angels that died so Lucifer's kingdom could flourish. And the Versace commercial shows an image of a woman coming down like an angel, and she sits down, and then a teardrop falls out of her eye and hits the parched ground. They died so the desert could bloom. Here we are in a desert setting now, and a teardrop hits the ground representing death. Like when a sheep dies, a drop of water comes out of the eye, and it hits the dry, parched ground, which also represents serpent skin, and then a penis comes out, and she fornicates with it. I mean, the Bible says right there in Genesis, "Neither shall you touch it, lest you die." And it means to lay with a woman. So everything has added up absolutely perfectly. And then her body turns to her own prison, and her essence is completely trapped inside a bottle with the Vesica Piscis on the bottle. Now we have one more commercial that we looked at. The Coco Mademoiselle commercial is again a reference to the Garden of Eden and Adam being trapped in a Vesica Piscis, the exact same shape that's on the top of the Versace bottle. And then the camera goes up and it shows that he is trapped below. And what he thought he was going to get was this girl that he was attracted to that was wearing all white. Then she turns to black and she's wearing a black dress, and there's a dragon on her dress. So there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever. All of this represents the fall of man. All of these commercials represent cannibalization, twin paradigm, DNA, and being trapped, and death. Every single one of them. So now we're going to move into the next few commercials. I would like to continue with a commercial that you saw at the very beginning of this presentation. That's another image of a DNA panel. You can find a variety of them. I'd like to show you an infinity symbol, which is a representation many times of the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, which is self-cannibalization. And you picture, the twins, one and the other, and the serpent eating its own tail. And this is, again, like we showed you in the beginning, with Beyonce and autosarcophagy. Again, it is one of those things that is absolutely designed to be hidden in plain sight. Here we go. This one doesn't really need a whole lot of explanation. The entire floor, the carpet, is a DNA panel. She is wearing shoes that have very intentionally put bows on them to make the infinity symbol, because the female was used as the #1 warrior against God's angels. That was the bait. And so now the door opens and they go into a new dimension. What do you notice that is incorrect about their reflections in the mirror? But look, this is correct and this is correct. This is not what you would see in the mirror. You'll recognize this face again. They're going into this party. They step out and there's leaves in front of their private parts. Garden of Eden, the fall again, vodka commercial. Now they walk in. Now here, this is where the two have become one, and it's in their mind. So this is a representation of their owner, of Lucifer. He's wearing, this is a fez, a hat. Look at their arms right here. They have their arms together making the V. Look at the shadows, right side up and upside down. So again, cryptic, but when you know the truth, it's right in your face. As someone looks out the people, look at the eye of the person that goes in front of this glass. It looks very alien. It's totally black, like darkness. And so they're going into darkness. Now as the door opens up, the representation here of those that are already part of the system. And as they walk in the door, you'll see that, you know, the men are stained with lipstick and everybody has this look of sin and they've fallen. They are not pristine and clean looking. The guy has stained with lipstick marks all over him, and it's starting to look like a very surreptitious party they've walked into. Now as they approach the bar, look at the bartender, how he smiles at him. It's a fake smile, completely fake. Then he turns and looks at the band to begin playing. What do you notice about the band? It's all the same person. Now everybody's gone into this trance, and the whole room has been captivated by the spirit that has taken over every member that is in the entire room. It's a representation of the fall again. As these serpents come out, there's two glasses, one for the male, one for the female. But I want you to look at the position of the serpents. They go into the shape of the female reproductive system. Then a white serpent comes out and presses the little button for the spray in the soda that's going to go into their drink, representing the sperm. That's why it's a white serpent. And there behind the bar is a representation of the evil one that is serving it up. You have the fruit sitting on the bar. Now everybody is in the same trance. Now there's two more being added to the group. You have a white serpent representing the sperm and the liquid coming out of the soda dispenser. This is as obvious as it gets again. And now the entire crowd is part of the system run by the serpent, and they're all in a trance. And as soon as these two take their drink, the next group comes in. And here come the next ones. What does this have to do with selling vodka? Do you believe that this commercial is anything other than just hiding the truth in plain sight, mocking God's people, the angels that haven't awakened, that are in their deep sleep in a host body system? That's all that this is. Let's watch one more. All right, this commercial is called Scion XD. This is about selling you a Scion vehicle. It's called The Fable of the Little Deviants.
In a world that is bland, colorless, and cold, where banality grows like a fungus or a mold, there live the boring sheeple who look just like each other. A darker force rides into town, unleashing demon brothers. Here come the little deviants. They come from underground. They're rising from the depths to take those sheeple down. The sheeple are compliant and make for fine ingredients. For customizing anything, here come the little deviants. These are the little deviants.
I'm not sure what that has to do with buying a vehicle, but I can assure you that I didn't hear anything about any amenity, no selling point. So if you're paying the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars it takes to produce a commercial and to play it over the airwaves, well then this had nothing to do with selling a car, but it did have an agenda. So let's go back and let's go look at the agenda. The Book of Deviants, the Fable of Deviants, and it has Scion XT. If you notice that the little deviants, the little monsters, they all have an X and a D on their faces. Let me show you what XD means so you understand that Satan is laughing and mocking those that he's killing. XD is the acronym for the phrase LOL, or laugh out loud. It is the emoticon with the letter X as the eyes and D as a laughing mouth. The eyes here appear to be as squinted that denotes the expression of a person laughing really hard. And so Satan is doing this commercial all the while laughing at those that he's destroying, killing, God's angels. He literally hates God's angels and wants to destroy you. So a darker force rides into town unleashing demon brothers. Because the fall from heaven, those that sided with Lucifer, there were those that were guilty by association, there are those that were the leaders, and those that were part of the insurrection, which had a different part than those that are being redeemed that get to go back home. If you look at all the demons' faces, they have an X and a D on their face.
They're rising from the depths to take those sheeple down.
They're rising from the depths to take those sheeple down. And they're making fun of the human race as a bunch of sheeple, a bunch of, idiots being led around like sheep that know nothing. And they're here to destroy them. One sheep's head gets cut off, thrown up in the air. Now it's going to turn upside down. There's the upside down paradigm. Earlier in this DVD, we showed you that there's a race within a race. One race is within a race destroying the other one. It is self-cannibalization. It is transmutation. And that is what is occurring on this planet. Well, right here in this commercial, you're going to see this demon jumps out and it scares the sheep out of its skin. Watch what happens here. The demon puts on the sheepskin and then leads the other sheep to destruction to be food. Isaiah 30. They cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, says the Lord. So they look just like everyone else walking around, but it is a malevolent, extremely wicked, evil monster that is leading the sheep to destruction. So he looks like him. So the sheeple are compliant and make for fine ingredients for customizing anything. Here come the little deviants. And so now one that looks like them is leading them all to destruction. Now the one that looks like he got away, he ran out, and here comes the car. Finally, now there's finally a Toyota here, a Scion. And let's look. What do you notice about most of these commercials? There is the reflection again. He's looking at his own reflection, and his own reflection becomes the very thing that kills him. There's the XD. He was looking at his own reflection. XD means laugh out loud really hard. There's really a monster. Your own reflection is a monster to destroy you. Rips his head off. And there you go. And you can go buy a Scion. That is just absolutely absurd. But this is the world you actually live in. I think we'll do one more commercial, another car commercial called Maserati, and I'll show you what's going to happen. All right. Now we're going to do a commercial called Maserati Ghibli. Now, Ghibli is a wind that comes out of nowhere. I'd like to talk about a nuclear preemptive strike. It's the word they use. In nuclear strategy, a first strike is a preemptive surprise attack employing overwhelming force. First strike capability is a country's ability to defeat another nuclear power by destroying its arsenal to the point where the attacking country can survive the weakened retaliation while the opposing side is left unable to continue war. The strategy is called counterforce. When animals attack, some have very specific ways of attacking and words that are associated with that particular attack. The serpent is one that the word strike is the word that is used for an attack. So that's a serpent strike. And it's got to be so fast. I mean, for the water to be, yeah, the water just to be hanging there like that, you can tell the speed at which a serpent strikes. It's amazing. It's faster than actually the blink of an eye. It's really amazing. A snake strike is extremely, extremely fast. Now I'm going to show you the U.S. currency, and I'm going to show you stuff you've already seen, but we're going to review it for this commercial. I've shown you that the other bombings of the other buildings in the United States, the Twin Towers were printed on U.S. currency. Also, the Pentagon was printed on the U.S. currency, printed on the same $20 bill note. Amazingly enough, the Alfred P. Mora building was printed on the old $20 bill. This is an amazing image right here because it is an absolute perfect representation of the side of the Alfred P. Mora building, especially with these rounded corners and the 6 long rectangular elongated windows. This image has 3 layers of ink, and in those layers of ink you can very obviously see the expansion of the rubble and the smoke. The bill itself plays like a movie, and it is just the most amazing thing. Every single image that is printed on U.S. currency of one of the bombings of our building has 3 layers of ink, and they all have a movie quality to them that you can magnify those 3 layers in a row, and it literally looks like a short movie playing of that bombing. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'd like to show you the events that are printed on U.S. currency that have not happened as of yet, but this will be the strike, because when the serpent makes his move on all of humanity to bring about the New World Order, he will strike, because that is the means in which a serpent attacks, extremely fast and without warning. So let's look at the $10 bill. Here's the new $10 bill, and it has a tidal wave coming over a 7-story building. This area below here, this is the reflection of the building in the water. There is the actual building with the tidal wave coming over the building. The sky is orange because there's a nuclear wind. So when Lucifer makes his move to bring about the beginning of the Great Tribulation and the birthing event, it will be New York as well as the Hoover Dam. Both will be destroyed. They're both printed as images on U.S. currency. When you take this bill and you draw around the perimeter of the bill and you connect the vertices and you apply Isaiah 29:15 and 16, you'll know who the enemy is. The one that's behind it is the Church of Satan. And so that shows who's behind the plans of that nuke and tidal wave coming over the building. The new $100 bill has come out. I've shown you it has a bell in the inkwell representing them ringing the bell that they're going to implement their plans. In 2008, I prophesied the destruction of New York. Behold, the hand of the oppressor has been lifted against you, and out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem shall cover the city by the sea, and great shall be the destruction of that city. So here it is. Here's New York printed on the U.S. currency. Watch as the layers of ink turn into those buildings disintegrating and water rushing between the buildings. An absolute destruction event printed on the $100 bill. Here's an image taken from a movie called Day After Tomorrow, and where water is rushing through the buildings of New York. And this image on the $100 bill is a perfect representation of what you're looking at here on the left. Let's go ahead and watch this commercial all the way through. Remember what I just previously showed you, and we will go over it again as we break this commercial down so you know what's coming and what was telegraphed here.
The world is full of giants. They have always been here, lumbering in the schoolyards, limping through the alleys. We had to learn how to deal with them, how to overcome them. We were small, but fast. Remember? We were like a wind appearing out of nowhere. We knew that being clever was more important than being the biggest kid in the neighborhood. As long as we keep our heads down, as long as we work hard, trust what we feel in our guts, our hearts, then we're ready. We wait until they get sleepy. Wait until they get so big they can barely move. Then we walk out of the shadows. Quietly walk out of the dark. And strike.
Up until this point of the commercial, it's been nothing but an agenda. But now we'll see the car. What's the very first thing you see? When she said, and strike. We have prepared, now we strike. Everything has become so blatantly obvious that you're gonna realize that all of this is a world that you were born into, that you were asleep to. That's why the Bible says, arise, O sleeper, wake up from the dead, and Christ will give you light. So let's go back. So as the commercial begins, there's a tidal wave. That's a big wave, isn't it? On the $100 bill as well as the $10 bill, a nuclear strike and a tidal wave. As soon as she says the world is full of giants, you see a shadow covering the ground. Isaiah 60, arise, shine, for the light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For those of us that have awakened. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. Darkness has covered the earth, and gross darkness the people of the earth. But for those of us that can see, but the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So there is darkness covering the earth and the people of the earth. While she's talking about giants, they've always been here. Back to Genesis, there were giants on the earth in those days. And after that, from when the sons of God had intercourse with human women, they gave birth to mighty men. There's a shadow covering everything. Now her eyes open because it represents another consciousness. There's a dream catcher hanging in the window because until you're awake, you literally are living out a dream state. Arise, O sleeper, wake up from the dead. Now she's looking in the mirror again. I showed you everybody's got their own evil twin. It's just like your mirror reflection looking right back at you. This is a common theme, repetitive. This is consistent throughout this presentation of information. This was an interesting place to put it, but it has this fire burning in the background, and look, you have one right side up and one upside down valve. Look right here. This is a key hanging on this thing. It looks like a key.
We were like a wind appearing out of nowhere.
In this particular scene, the flock of birds, repetitively in the Bible, even the parable of the mustard seed, it makes the largest of all plants and covers the earth, and fowls of the air come and nest in the branches. Now she's saying we knew that being clever was more important than being the biggest kid in the neighborhood. The breeding has been refined. It's not giants now, it's intellect. Take a look at your iPhone. Being clever was more important than being the biggest kid in the neighborhood.
We knew that being clever was more important than being the biggest kid in the neighborhood.
Look at the shape of that. He's forging a key. As long as we kept our heads down, then we're ready. Ready for what?
We're ready. We wait until they get sleepy. Wait until they get so big they can barely move. Then we walk out of the shadows.
We wait until they get sleepy. Who? Wait until who gets sleepy? I thought you're selling a car. So does someone have to get sleepy to sell a car? That's insane. This is absolutely absurd. But all of society getting sleepy and complacent and not paying attention to what's going on in the world, that makes total sense. The Bible says, arise, O sleeper, wake up from the dead. Again, the world population is trapped in very urban centers, and there's no way to get away once this all goes down. The Bible says those in the cities will die of famine and pestilence, and those in the country will fall by the sword. The guy lifts up his mask when she says, and we walk out of the shadows. So his identity is becoming unveiled. Isaiah 30, quietly walk out of the darkness. So now here comes a girl from behind a veil, because again, their identities are concealed. They are among us, but they are not us.
And we walk out of the shadows, quietly walk out of the dark, and strike. And strike.
I don't know what that has to do with buying a Maserati at all. When it fires up, that sure looks like the two intersecting V's and a trident, which is associated with the Hindu religion and their god. Again, this is 100% nothing to do with buying a car. This has everything to do with another race of means that's going to come out of the darkness, walk out of the shadows, and strike. Then it says, we have prepared, now we strike. And that's what I'm here to warn everybody about. That is my ministry, to show you who they are, the abomination of desolation, who you are, what your identity is, where you came from, why you're here, and what this is all about. We're going to conclude the DVD, and we will wrap it up with a complete conclusion.